founding member of Qualo and the originator. I came up with the name Qualo, short for Qualohim, which is Latin for quad, meaning four, because there's four of us, and Elohim, which is the Hebrew for those beings or supreme beings that ain't, you know, angelic beings. As you see, we're very modest, you know, four supreme beings of rap. Like I said, founder, member, creator. Originally, we were a group called Angles of the Pyramid in high school. And it was only 3 of us at the time. This is like 1990, I'm showing my age now. So we've been together for like 19 years. And then we added Shala. We all went to Lane Tech High School. You know, it was literally created.
On Addison and Weston?
Addison and Weston, yeah. The group was literally created in the hallways and in the lunch table in Lane Tech. Me and Chicago Sean was the first, he was the shorter one, first 2 members of the group. Actually, I don't know how I ended up rapping because he just said, you know, you should write a rap. I know you could do it. He challenged me, so I just wrote a rap. Recorded it him, it was like so good, my first time out. So next thing I knew, I was rapping every day. Like I had never thought about it before, and I, you know, I was always a fan. I listened, but it was the furthest thing from my mind. A little bit of egging on from him, and he proceeded to teach me by example and literally instructing me. He brought Ken in, who I actually knew. I've known since 4th grade, but we hadn't seen each other in a couple of years. And known as Optimist, and Kim, his name is Kim Wins now. So yeah, basically in the lunchroom, we used to sit at the table every day and crack on each other's mama, like your mama sucked dick for wooden nickels, like literally every day. Us and this like 6'6" white kid, you know, named Guy, real name. And we just used to sit around and talk shit every day, running from or fighting the upperclassmen because they, you know, people would never know Lane Tech's supposed to be this big, you know, smart school full of smart kids, but it was like war zone sometimes every day. Like you literally be at your locker coming in school, and then the next 5 minutes you fighting like 6 dudes, just because they're in a different year from you. So that's kind of the environment we came up in.
And weren't people busing in from different areas to go?
Yeah, I mean, some people, I don't know if it was like school busing, but mostly everybody, it wasn't a neighborhood school.
Right. So
you had people from the north side, south side, west side, just converging, you know, from different neighborhoods, different gang affiliations.
that could lead to some conflict.
Oh yeah, it definitely did. And then, you know, some people took advantage of the situation because they might come from a rough neighborhood, but they probably go home and go in the house. But when they come to Lane Tech and it's all these smart kids, now all of a sudden they tough. They're a low man on the totem pole in their neighborhood when they can come to this environment where you easily intimidate people. Now, you know, I mean, it's literally people who didn't, I know cats that didn't gangbang in the streets, but had formed their own miniature versions of those gangs in the school, and they had meetings, and they had a school chief. It was gay. No offense to anybody. You know, I'm a free spirit myself, but you know, it was just, it was silly. It was kind of crazy. So, you know, like I said, we literally formed in the hallways, just walking around, and you know, it was really about having fun. And like I said, I knew Optimist from like 4th grade. I heard him rap one time. I was like, you know, he's cold. He was way advanced. Well, Link had been rapping since he was 11. So he was already a grizzled veteran by the time he was 13, 14 years old. Like, you know, he had had a deal before and everything. And he was just like, Link is one of the coldest people on earth. But Ken was, his rhyme patterns and style was very, very, very advanced for that time. Like, you know, like Eminem status connections and stuff like that. Stuff that he listened to a lot of Paris. I don't know if y'all remember Paris. Paris was really pro-black nationalist, so that was kind of his thing, you know, which has helped form the group's identity because originally all of us was radicals, you know. Link was a black nationalist radical. I was a radical Muslim, you know what I mean? I had very extreme views. Ken's whole persona was basically just fuck the police and, you know, any authority figure. So when we linked up, that's the name Angles of the Pyramid, because we had an Afrocentric scope to the group a little bit, but it was, you know, it wasn't passive.
Were you all from the same neighborhood?
Funny stories. Essentially, yeah. We are from the west side. My neighborhood, we call it Terrortown. It's near Garfield Park, real close to the circle. I was born on a block called Carroll, like 2 blocks over on Walnut is where Link was from. But we didn't know that we were from the same neighborhood. And when he first met me in orientation freshman year, he told me he didn't like me on sight. Cause he's short, dark skinned, you know what I mean? Had baggy clothes, he grew up, you know, he was hip hop, he was rapping all the time. I was tall, with a Sean Kemp pump fade, a yellow silk shirt on and some slick jeans. You know, I looked real West Side. He was like, this motherfucker. Like, he literally said he didn't like me and he had planned on starting a fight with me at some point in time. So, and now, like, you know, my best friend is my brother. I don't know how we started talking. I've always had that effect on people. Like, I look like a certain thing, and then when we engage, something else comes about. So I don't know how we got to talking, but our radical views came out. So he pulled out like a couple of notebooks full of speeches. This is what he did in his spare time. He wrote radical speeches about everything, government, religion, and all that. And then I get to talk and tell him some of my ideas or whatever. Then I told him where I was from. He was like, well, he was like, yeah, my brother, you know what I'm saying, Sean Laneworthy. Like, get the fuck out of here. That ain't your brother, you know. Because my brother is a legend in my neighborhood. Like, he literally saved Link's life before. Like, he was walking down the street, some cats off my block was just gonna fuck him up randomly for no reason. He said, my brother walked up, looked at dude and said, and they turned around and left. It was like 10 cats. And he just walked off. He was like, man, from that day on, I love your brother. I ain't never spoke a sentence to him a day in my life. But so he didn't believe me till I took him to the neighborhood and he met my brother and shit. He was like, okay. So that was funny. Then Ken's family actually is from another block where Link's other half of his family is from. So like,
What neighborhood was that?
it's close to my neighborhood. It's west side near around Kidsey, Chicago Avenue area. I don't really have a name, but Ken, his aunts used to babysit members of Link's family. That's how close their connection was, but they didn't know. They never met until we got in high school, and I was the connector between them. So you see, it was funny, like we always said that it was like we was meant to know each other or whatever. So second year, 91, a friend of mine comes to me and said, man, this guy rapping in the auditorium, you gotta come here. Like, tell me what he doing. Like, just come with me. So then I meet Shop. We were class of 94, Shop was class of 93. That's the guy with the glasses. He, so we're in the auditorium, like I'm the, the rap boss, like, let me hear what you got. So this motherfucker get to rapping, and he's rapping mixtures of third bass rhymes, and I don't know, Vanilla Ice, somebody, he was biting. That was when I first, he was biting hard. I'm like, listen, I'm like, dude, that's MC Search verse from blah, 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 man. What's wrong with you, man? And again, I don't know how we end up friends, and he end up in my group, about later on in the year or whatever. So, I mean, that's basically, that was high school. We formed a few crews. We used to hang out with a lot of cats from the north side. We had a collective called Yoko Sort. It was 3 stages. There was the rappers, there were dancers, and there was graph artists, people who throw up, tagging and all that. I even tried to tag for a while. That was like some peer pressure shit. I was garbage, you know what I mean? I had crazy names, Nilla, and it was
So let me
crazy.
ask you a question. Growing up on the west side, all of you, how did you interact, or were you connected to Psychodrama, Do or Die, Twister? Were you guys kind of separate from that? Because it's generational a little bit, right?
Yeah, they're the same generation as us. Psychodrama was another group before. The original person who invented that style was actually direct from Triple Darkness.